VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 743, recorded on February 4th, 2025.
I forgot to pull up the notes. Give me just a second. There we go. Hello, and welcome to the 743rd episode of the TD Gaming Podcast and 576th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Yeah, so we're going to abandon our usual format, and we're just going to wing it. No notes, we're just going to talk about what's going on. But before we do, let's talk about what we've been playing. And I have a feeling that TJ, have you been playing Foundation at all?
I played it a little bit earlier this week. It was on my indie stream. I saw it hit 1.0. Never played it before. That game is super in depth for an indie city builder.
Well, I believe it was on Kickstarter since 2017, and it's an indie game. It feels like an indie game that's been, let's see, Foundation, the Kickstarter was in 20. Well, that's last updated. Damn it! It should show us when it started. But yeah, it was it's been like 7 years or so since the Kickstarter started, and it has that feel of an indie game that's been in development a very long time with very few people. In other words, it's janky, but it has a lot of features. There's a lot of quality of life stuff that I would like to see in the game, to tell you the truth. Like, when you press escape, it brings up the game menu, even if there are windows open. And it's usually when you press escape, it should be closing windows, and it doesn't do that. It's just some of the weird stuff, like in some minor stuff, like in the tutorial. If you want the hints on, you can't skip the movement stuff. You know, I know how to use it. I know how to use a movement. I know WSD, you tilt the mouse back and forth, that sort of stuff. But here's where the depth is. Now, for those who don't know, Foundation, I would consider a city builder in the mode of Settlers. Everybody who's ever played the Settlers know what it's about. It's about making a city engine and just trying to build it up as much as you can, like a kingdom for Keflings. But one of the interesting things is almost all the buildings are modular, which means, say you have a woodcutting thing. Well, in the beginning, there's not much you can do. You can assign people to woodcut, and that's it. But if you upgrade it, now you can start adding things to it. Like you can do this. You can add this thing here, so it adds another worker. Do this thing, add a wheelbarrow here, and you do the same thing with buildings. You just modularly slap on buildings. So there's that entire modular thing going on. And I got as far as being asked to make a church, but then I'm going to have to redo it because one of the things you have to learn with that game is how to manage space. And it's just, you realize, oh, wait, I'm going to be stuck here and it's going to take me too long. So I'm just going to start over. It's one of those games where you say, city ain't working. Let's start over.
Yeah. I like that, like right from the get-go, you can sort of select what your priority is going to be. So like you can choose to build a burg, you can just build like an economic town. You can build a monastery and focus on a religious town, or you can build a stronghold and do a military town.
Yeah, it's basically its version of doing scenarios. I just do free farm, and just because I'm learning the rules. One of the great things I like about it though is the camera doesn't go very high up. Actually, you can't. If you put the camera all the way up, it's only going to show you like a small part of the map. But what I really like is if you make the camera go down, it can go down to ground level, and when you look through at ground level, all of a sudden the trees, they start fading in the background from atmosphere. It has a really nice, realistic look. Everything in the back, it becomes more and more faded as you have, and it has this real good three-dimensional look when you're down on the ground. It has cartoony graphics, but within those graphics, I mean, it really looks nice.
Yeah, I was having a really chill time with it. It's a fun game. I think it's probably one of the more interesting city builders I've seen in the indie scene in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing that game Memoriopolis, and it's not as good, even though it's more polished. It's also another indie game, but one thing I do like is that when you put down buildings, the way the settlers walk, they'll start to wear the grass, and eventually you'll have roads only because they keep walking on the same patch of grass. So you get these roads forming because naturally. The one thing I would like to see is that if you move a building and they no longer walk on that grass, I'd like to see the grass start to grow back. That's one small thing, I know, but it would be a nice effect. I can see how they could do it too.
I liked. So when I started my village, I built it on a coast by a river.
Yeah.
And my thought was, oh, cool! If I set up like this, I'll be able to build a fishing setup. Only I didn't realize that the river had zero fish in it, and like
splashes when you if you start to build a fishing hut, you'll see the little fish there. But you can also see where they are because you'll see splashing in the river. But even then, it's not a good idea to start a fishing hut early in the game anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know that because like I didn't know what the indicators were for fish. But like once I set my hut up and it was built and it was good to go, I saw a little icon over it and it's like there are no fish nearby. And I'm like, oh, cool, that sucks.
One thing I like is, say you're doing berries, and not only have to pick the berries, but you have to do a market stall for the berries so that people can buy it. And it's a good idea to make a granary so that the berries stay a while. The trading is interesting. What happens is that you go to the trade screen once you're able to do trade, and you put how many of that resource you want that you're not going to sell. Anything above, you sell. Or it's the other way around. Anything lower, you sell. And it's really cool because you can just, okay, you know what? Because they have this thing in which this town wants planks, right? So it says, okay, 20 planks. So anything more than 20 planks that I have, we'll just sell it off to them.
Yeah, I like games where you can set like a sell if you have this much type setup.
Yeah, this seems like the sort of game in which it's like City Skylines 2, in which you're gonna have to keep playing and playing and playing to unlock shit. It's like you keep playing and it's sort of like, oh wait, that? Oh wait, that? Oh wait, that?
One thing I noticed right away that was really fun was I was able to build a wooden bridge over the river that was nearby, and start my village on the other side, and like expand my village to the other side of the river, and like build basically two setups with the because it also has the kind of city skyline thing where you start out with just a small patch of land, but then you can buy local areas and expand your reach. And it was fun. I liked setting up that way where I had like this one bridge basically connecting my two little worlds.
It's also in the chat thinks I have blue eyes. I do not have blue eyes. I have green eyes. They're green. So we have our one fan that watches every stream. But yeah, I mean, this right now, in terms of city builders, this is sharing time with Against the Storm for me, which I've been playing for a year now, and would have been my best strategy game of 2024, except it came out in December 2023, which I guess makes it eligible for the Video Game Awards. But this is a completely different game. It is, like I said, anybody who's played The Settlers, you'll immediately understand what kind of game it is, because what it is basically you build a city and you create an engine and try to keep building the city, and that's it, And it'll also occasionally you'll get these little missions from the king or other people say, "Hey, the king wants you to deliver 50 wood to him." Okay. Yeah. So one thing I don't like is that I would like it that it will automatically see if a building is being built and needs wood. I would like it so that the woodcutter would stop turning it into planks and let wood come out. That's something that'll probably be patched. But as it is, I have to pause wood cutting so that so that I can have raw wood for whatever the building is. Yeah, this is the sort of game in which a year from now it's going to be really polished.
Yeah, I was enjoying what we had here so far, and I'm really interested to see how it continues to grow past the 1.0 launch.
Yeah. As for other games, I've been playing the new Sniper Elite, and this is a janky game. This is not a polished game by Rebellion, but it's still hella fun because who doesn't like sniping a Nazi and watching a Mortal Kombat style image of a bullet entering his brain as you see his skull shattering?
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to say, hey, look, finally a game that reminds us the Nazis are the bad guys.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to play the full thing yet. I played a preview of it a while back, and I did like the sandbox maps that it had. It's like in the one that I had, there were like multiple objectives that you could go at.
Yeah, there are multiple optional objectives, and I learned, you know what, do all the objectives, or you're not going to have as much fun. You don't want to run through this thing.
And they take you to like completely different sides of the map too. Like the maps are vast.
Yeah.
And if you do the objectives, you'll see most of it.
Yeah. Also, one of my favorite things about Sniper Elite, the entire series, is that it's one of the best stealth games because this is a stealth game in disguise. And I just did a mission in which I got 11,000 experience for marking 30 targets and not killing them. And I only killed 7 people, and all of them were snipers. So everybody else I spared, and I got massive. And at the end, it'll show you this thing. I'm all the way there on stealth and non-lethal. It's sort of like Mark of the Ninja, in which you can play any way you like. I mean, it actually doesn't care if you just go out, take your submachine gun out, and go, ah! It may be a harder game, but it allows you to be as loud as you want if you want to be loud.
Yeah, substantially harder because like they will call the alarm and then you'll be swarmed with,
and you'll have the snipers all pointing at you too.
Yeah.
I only had that one little ring when you hear, which means sniper sees you. Oh shit, gotta get out of the way. I always can find because the game's good enough to have those flash that of the light when when their scope is trained on you. But yeah, as janky as it is, and trust me, it is very janky. I mean, moving around is a pain sometimes in it, and picking stuff up is a double pain sometimes. And the story is bad, but I don't play Sniper Elite for the story anyway. It's always the same thing too. Nazi bad, Nazi doing super weapon, stop the super weapon. That's it. I haven't tried the invasion yet. I know it's been in past ones, and basically that's a horde mode for those who don't know in Sniper Elite. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it as I always do with Sniper Elite. Rebellion always has a good sniper game. So, PJ, what else have you been playing?
I have been playing a lot of Virtua Fighter 5. They put out a new version of the game, Revo.
Yeah, and the complaints are always Virtua Fighter 5. Where the fuck is Virtua Fighter 6 already?
Well, that'll be coming later this year. They're working on it.
They announced it?
They did. They announced a brand new Virtua Fighter. I suspect that the reason why they came out with this version of the game is because they put rollback in it and they wanted to get that rollback ready for the big thing. I will say this: they have some work to do because I had a bad experience with online play in this game.
Everybody's complained about each and every Virtua 5 re-release. There's always something wrong with it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is a pretty good version as far as just like the fighting goes. I enjoy I play a big old brawler called Jeffrey McWild, and he has the ability, if somebody's on the ground near a wall, he can pick them up by their face and throw them into the wall and then continue comboing them. And it's just burly. Like, every big hit in this game sounds like a semi-truck crashing into a glass factory. And I like that much. I hope they work out the kinks of the rollback netcode because it is Not great, in my opinion. It needs some work.
Did you see the Conan DLC from Mortal Kombat and how badly the actors try to do an Arnold accent?
No, I don't pay too much attention to Mortal Kombat 1. I understand that I understand that the diehards are enjoying what it has for them, but like, man, I couldn't hang in there. It was too annoying for me.
I still enjoy Injustice. I always enjoy the face-off quips because they're always so interesting in all of the other realms fighting. So one of these days, I'm just going to go back into Injustice 6 and chill out with it because that's the last fighting game I really enjoyed. Just enjoying it. So, Scott, what have you been playing?
I've been playing the Wild West game, Weird West, which is
it's
like the Wild West meets Call of Cthulhu. Has crazy cultists and monsters, and you play I think you play multiple characters, but the first one you play is this bounty hunter who, her family gets killed and she was retired, but she comes back out to, get revenge. And
by the way, before you say anything more, everybody, this is a Devolver Digital game, which will tell you everything you need to know about it.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe of Devolver Digital, being this like kind of grim and dark and
you're just really goofy and weird.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
The other half of that is that it's also Raph. I can't remember how to say his last name, but he was the co-founder of Arcane Studios, and he and a couple other people left to form Wolfeye Studios. And Weird West is their first game.
Colantino and Julian Roby.
Yep.
Antonio, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt.
He's very French. Très français. That's Arcane Studios. Arcane Studios is Très français. I did not know, by the way, that he did Arx Fatalis and Dark Messiah of Might and Magic.
Yep.
And I'm one of the few people who actually like Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. For those who don't know, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is a first-person brawler. Can't say it's a shooter, but it's a first-person game. That action first person. It's not like Elder Scrolls. It's intended to be action first person and set in the Might and Magic universe. Really weird. And Arx Fatalis it's one of those games which was really janky when it first came out, and now everybody loves it.
Yeah, I never got a chance to play Arx Fatalis, and I feel like I should at some point because it's like Arcane's very, very, very first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a first-person, well, not shooter.
Dungeon crawler, if I remember correctly.
No, 2002. Jesus Christ. This is a 23-year-old game, man. So, yeah. Oh, boy. Anyways, we're going to go freestyle now. And the first thing I want to talk about is the outcry that Microsoft was releasing a lot more games multi-platform, and I see what they're doing. I can absolutely see what they're doing. So one of the games they're releasing is Forza Horizon 5 on Switch 2 and PlayStation 5. And it reminds me when Microsoft started releasing things on PC, and Sony said, "We're not going to do that." And then they saw how much money Microsoft was making, and said, "You better do that." And I can't help but think this is Microsoft saying, "Oh, you think Gran Turismo is so good? Check this shit out." I can't help but think that Gran Turismo is going to be overshadowed by Forza Horizon 5. Because Gran Turismo has been running on fumes lately. All they do is recycle everything, and it's like maybe a little bit better graphics, but they use old cars that don't look good with the new graphics. And it's sort of like Microsoft says, "Hey, you want to have fun this time? Forza Horizon 5. I noticed they're not releasing Forza on PS5, though. Interesting that. Probably because Forza is not as good as Forza Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, if I remember correctly, like one of the caveats of Xbox getting Activision Blizzard was that they needed to expand their library to other platforms more freely. And with the Switch 2 on the horizon, that seems to be much more feasible than it used to be in this generation.
Switch 2 is getting a lot of positive hype right now.
Yeah.
People are getting really into it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's going to be more powerful, so it's not out of the question to think that maybe it will be able to handle more Xbox
Did they
games.
ever say what the storage is going to be?
I don't think they've given specs yet, but they are doing the deep dive into it in April. So
yeah, because that's the one thing they need now. With memory diving in price, I can easily see them having a 1 terabyte M2 in there. You know, even if it's a half terabyte, 500 gigabytes, that'll still be a big improvement of what they already have, especially since their games don't take up as much hard drive space, but other games do. So, one of the things I think Microsoft is doing is that they're making money hand over fist, but not hardware sales are less right now, but the income they're getting from the Xbox division is skyrocketing, which tells me that they think, you know what we're going to do? We're going to force people go multi-platform. And what we want is it's no longer the brand, but now who makes the best console as in power. I think they want to turn this into sort of, they said they weren't going to make PCs, but guess what? There's no fucking difference between an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5. None. There is no difference. They're both the same machine. They just have different. If Sony allowed you could use any Bluetooth or their thing. If they're all using the same language. And at some point, you're gonna have to admit, well, these are just really cheaply made PCs.
Yeah, agreed. Like, and we're at a point where there's only so much more you can do with that kind of technology when you're talking about like basically an entry level PC.
Yeah. That reminds me. You know that Sony's discontinuing Blu-rays now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder what it bodes for. Well, Blu-ray movies, I think, because I'm thinking, does this mean the next generation PlayStation, not the PlayStation 5 Pro, but the PlayStation 6, is it going to have a hard drive?
Good question. I don't know.
You have to at least have a hard drive. If no CD drive, but at least a hard drive.
It's going to have a disk drive. Sorry.
Yeah, disk drive. That's a good question because like we are already at the point.
Not have a hard drive either. They may, at some point, people are just going to go pure streaming. But I mean a disk drive. Are they going to go completely digital? Is the question.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that like?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
We're getting to the point where a disk drive is a luxury item at this point because the PlayStation 5, for the new PlayStation 5s, you have to spend $80 extra to get a disk drive to put on there.
Remember the Xbox 360? You had to pay extra for the hard drive. You got the core, and then you got the hard drive just to slap on it if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to give up my disk drive. If the console has a disk drive, I'm going to choose that over digital always. Because I want to be able to play movies on my thing and not be digital movies. I have a shit ton of movies, and I'm not going to what's it called? Also, I don't even know how to play it. Oh, I do actually. Just do it onto my cell phone and then go through the Xbox. But still, that's why I'm delaying upgrading my PC because I'm trying to find. iBuyPower and CyberPower PC do not have an option for a case that'll have an internal disk drive, and that's one thing I want. I want an internal Blu-ray drive because I still rip movies and I still, and when those finally go away, I'm going to be very, very sad.
Yeah.
But again, you know what? Vinyl LPs are big now.
Yeah, they are. It's crazy.
So, at some point, people will say, hey, let's get back to CDs. We're going to make a CD, a retro CD. Fuck, they just released a new NES game. I mean, an NES cartridge for those who want to play it on their Nintendo. I mean, I remember someone did Space Fortress for the 2600 and had a cart for that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's been writing on the wall for a while at this point. Like companies are winding down on physical media, and I think that there will always be a need for groups like limited run games that kind of buck that and take and make physical copies of games anyways.
You know what's going to happen though, right? When they do that, the European Union is going to lay down the law and say, when you buy something, you own it forever. No more
Yeah.
of that. You're renting it from us bullshit. Because you could get away with that when everything was physical media. I mean, NES, you have it on the NES cartridge. You don't actually own this game. You just own the property on it. Yeah, whatever. I have the physical copy. It's not going to change. Now it's going to happen. Now it's possible for someone to say, yeah, that's mine. Thank you. So the European Union, and they always are the lead on this, are going to say, nope, can't do that anymore. They already got through the fact that you can get refunds on digital games.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they're not gonna go down without a fight though, because the stranglehold they have on digital rights management is, well, I mean, copyright lawyers across the world are making money on that shit left and right.
Europe tends to get things their way.
Yeah.
So, Scott, you posted an article about Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance developer saying instant gratification in gaming has become a problem. And I guess he's doing that to say, I don't care if our game is slow and boring. We want it slow and boring.
Yeah, I think it's important sometimes that the developer does their vision of the game they want, because sometimes that's the experience, the journey of
He's
playing
saying
that game.
that he's tired of games that thrust you in the action and tell you what to do, because the developer, Bittner, says that his favorite game is Morrowind. Have you played Morrowind?
I think I played it a little, yeah.
What happens to that game? You're on the island for jail. You escape, and then you go to the Blade's agent, and he gives you some vague stuff to do, and then you're just out there and you just do whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you what to do. Just, hey, if you want to find the game, go find the game. We're not going to tell you what the game is.
I used to play Sierra games where you're just like thrown into it and you just figure it out. The whole journey was just figuring out what to do and where things were, and just a whole
but you
bunch
did have
of
a
trial
manual.
and error.
You did have a manual. I miss those manuals. I get it. I get Railroad Tycoon. There's this thick manual about it. Some of it is about the game, but other of it is just about history.
We got Outer Wilds, and it came with a little manual, a little book. You open it and it had the console, the solar system thing that's for that game, and it was like, oh, there's a map, and it was just blew my mind. You don't get these things anymore.
Outer Wilds
nice to see that.
It's never a game I'll play for fun. It's never a game I'll play for fun. I'll watch a video of someone else playing it. Because you have to do so many things that are timed, and it's like, I can't do that. I can't. I don't have the patience for that. There is something to be said about getting to the good stuff, which is why I don't play Souls-like games, because they're all just
they're punishing.
They're not hard at all. You know what they are? They're grind fests. That's why I don't play a lot of JRPGs, especially the older ones in which you'd be walking around. Oh, you're being attacked. What? I didn't see it. No, it's a random encounter. Waste your time, and oh, by the way, you have to do the entire encounter. You can't do a quick combat for it. And I'm fighting creatures that are 50 levels below me. Doesn't matter. Fight them. Yeah. Oh, great. Another Zubat. I swear, going through the caves, the next Zubat I wanted to see, I just wanted to throw a rock at my Game Boy Advance. It made me have a healthy dislike for Zubats.
Yeah, those caves sucked, especially if you didn't buy any repels before you went in there.
There's a new Pokemon for the Switch 2, so we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it won't be some some old asset bullshit being tossed. See, here's the thing. When I first played Pokemon, I really had fun. And then I got the next Pokemon, and I had fun for like 5 hours. I said, wait a minute, this is the same game. And this was after Red and Blue, whatever came after that. And then
Yeah.
I tried once more with White and Black, and it's like, I give up. I give up.
Well, the good news is that it's a sequel to Pokemon Legends Arceus, which that one was like the more interesting one. That one was better than Violet and Scarlet. Like they really tried something different with Arceus.
Yes, they made an isekai game.
Yeah.
Anytime you say an isekai makes something more interesting, that says you're in a lot of trouble.
But like it was good. It was good though. Like people enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one. It was an interesting, different kind of setup compared to what we usually get out of the Pokemon games. And I'm happy to see that we get to do more of that. Like I'm happy to see that they're continuing the Legends
Have you seen
franchise.
reviews for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? I haven't seen them yet. I know it came out today.
What's it?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came
what
out
about
today.
It?
Reviews for it?
Oh yeah, they're crazy glowing. Like a lot of people love it.
I hated the first game. It had some of the worst lockpicking mechanics I've ever played in a game in my life. That made it quick. And also, there's a reason why a lot of games assume stuff, right? Like food, and all that other stuff. The stamina system in it was bad. It was awful. And it had a console-style save system. Just made me no. There's a reason why we have hard drives now. So you'll have to pardon me if I'm not. If it appears on my Epic account, then I'll see what it's like. But I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I'm hearing that if you didn't like the first one, the second one probably won't win you over.
Yeah, that's the game, by the way, that Yahtzee invented the PC Master Gaming race for. I did the wrong version.
The save system's a pain in the neck. Picking ingredients is slow, and it's got some rough edges. But it's got some good RPG systems. Combat is pretty good, and the question of exploration.
People play Kingdom Come Online, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm pretty sure they're the same people who play EVE Online too.
Our reviewer loved the world. Like he was a really big fan of the open world, and he's usually not
about the game because the first game. I don't know when this one takes place. But the first game takes place in real Eastern Europe during the reign of King Wenceslas.
Yeah,
and that's an unmined period of time. It's not even the Renaissance. It's during the reign of King Wenceslas, the Holy Roman Empire. So that was the most interesting part of the game, which is probably part of the developers, love of history there.
Yeah, but like our guy that played it, he's usually pretty critical of open worlds, and he was just enamored with being in this world.
Yeah, one of the things is that it actually notices if you have shit all over you, people will comment.
Yeah.
People will comment. They'll say, you have shit all over you and you smell bad. Anyway, speaking of reviews, the first Civilization 7 reviews are coming out, and it's basically confirming everything I feared about it. And here's the thing. It's not like it's not like the game I thought. You know what it is? It's Civilization Revolution 3. They dumbed everything down so it can be on a console. Some of the things that'll irritate the hell out of it. You cannot set your scouts or anybody else to auto-explore.
Mm.
You have to move every single one of your units by hand. The thing that people like the most is that it is polished to a high sheen. This is a beautiful looking game and all the menus work, but it is Civilization Revolution 3. If you like Civ Rev and you don't mind it on PC, then you'll like Civ 7. I don't want to play Civilization Revolution 3. Sorry. And this is the thing. If you wanted to make Civilization Revolution 3, just make Civilization Revolution 3. Call it Civilization Revolution 3. There's a lot of people who loved Civilization Revolution. I didn't play 2. I heard it was bad, but the first one, a lot of people really loved because it was quick, fast, It didn't require as much of a time sink that Civilization does. And everything here, if you like UIs, you're going to hate Civ 6. I mean, 6-7. Because it has almost no information. you have to search for everything. You can't even hover mouse over something to get information about it. No, you got to type it out on the Civilopedia if you want to learn anything about something. I don't know if it's going to be patched, because here's the thing about every Civilization since 4 is that it's not the same game 2 years later. Civ 4, Civ 5, Civ 7, 6, Civ 6, 6, all of them have been gotten mediocre, and then they had patch after expansion pack after expansion pack after expansion pack to make them better. I don't know how they're going to do it with this game. Like I said, if you like Civilization Revolution, then you'll enjoy Civilization 7. If you go in with that mindset, then you'll enjoy it. It's fast. It's simplified. You understand the combat is the best of any of the civilizations, because basically what you're doing is, instead of having one stack or having one unit per stack, you have a general and the units follow him, and units do not level up. The general levels up, which is a good idea, right? Instead of your units somehow getting better, it's your general who gets better. So a lot of people are giving it a good C, 65 to 70 score so far. It'll have its fans because, like I said, it's nice and streamlined, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It takes everything from Civ 5 and Civ 6 in terms of graphics and melds them together. Civ 5 was realistic. Civ 6 was colorful and stylized. This takes them both and makes it realistic and colorful. So, yeah. But here's the thing. I'm not buying it unless it appears in my Epic account. I mean, here's the thing, though. I wanted Era History Untold to be the 4X game that I wanted to play, and unfortunately, it is micromanagement hell. It is the opposite of Civ 7. This is Era History Untold is micromanaging hell. So, yeah. Have you seen anything about it, Scott? Any of the reviews?
Civ 7, yeah, I've been hearing that the reviews aren't good for the game, and I know that.
Here's the thing I hate. When something gets a 70, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's a good game. I mean, maybe our standards are really, really high when it comes to Civ. But let me put it this way. If you buy Civilization 7, you're not going to go, oh, shit, I wish I never played this. No, you're going to say, okay, I'll play this, and if I want to play Civilization 6 or Civilization 5. Here's a question. Do you prefer Civilization 5? Because I've heard from people who say they still play 5 and not 6.
I prefer Civilization 4, but I like 5. 5 is nice. But I guess I'm kind of burnt out on Civ in general.
That's what you get for doing the polycast, damn it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I want to play. When I play Civilization, I want to enjoy the different eras. And when you're playing on these very fast speeds, you'll just blitzkrieg over them and not even get to use some of the units because you've already teched past those things. And it just.
I always found 5 and 6. You run through the text really fast, even if you're playing on slow. It's sort of like, oh yeah, that's obsolete already. Sorry, moving on.
Yeah, and so that's not fun. So I want to play it a lot longer, but unfortunately, that can be like I could play just one game of it for weeks. Play it like all week long. And I decided I wanted to play story games, JRPGs or RPGs, and instead, and that's one reason why I stopped playing Civilization.
Civilization 7, I think, is meant to be a single-sitting game that you can play with your controller. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing. The interface is horrible if you're on keyboard and mouse. And one of the things that a reviewer commented was that, hey, Stellaris has a lot of controls, a lot of UI, a lot of everything, and it plays damn well with a gamepad. They made it so that you could play it on console and not lose anything. And that's another word that people are saying about Civilization 7, consoleized. I don't mind streamlining, right? But I do mind sacrificing tools that you use. I want to be able to hover over a tile and see what it does. I don't want to have to guess. There's a lot of guessing that goes along, and you have to go into you either have to pull up a wiki or you have to type in the word in the Civilopedia to find out what it does.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went a little bit too far in user friendliness and quotes, because it's not very friendly in my eyes. Something can be too streamlined. So TJ, what have you heard about Civ 7?
I've heard that Endless Legend 2 is coming out, and I'm far more interested in that. I love I think I've said it on this podcast before, but I love the Endless games. I think
I have Endless games. I have Endless Dungeon and all that stuff, and I really can't get into them. I don't mean that I don't like them. They're so cryptic when I play them. I have no idea what's going on. That's the problem I have with the Endless games.
Well, Endless Dungeon is like it's a roguelike, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. Most of those games, they go beyond me. I really want to get into Stellaris, but that thing sometimes gets like, I thought I did this. Wait, why am I doing this? I always feel like I'm playing it badly, and that's the same thing I feel with the Endless game. Like somehow I feel like I'm not playing it right.
Well, that's one thing I like about the first Endless Legend, is that every faction has like their personal mission in the game. Like, yeah, you can take on a group that is like all about like conquering and taking over the board and defeating enemies. You can also play like the Dragonkin, that like their whole thing is discovering knowledge and preserving it, and fighting off people that would destroy history. Meanwhile, there's like a whole puppet cult that like their whole thing is trying to convert everybody else into their religion. And I like that about the game, because like not only do you get like those unique and interesting mechanics, but they also kind of tell more of a story that you don't get in games like Civ overtly. They actually like have a story to tell as you play through the factions missions in Endless Legend. And I always love that about it. So I'm really excited to see more of that.
You see, that's why I played Darkest Dungeon instead.
Yeah, but I'm talking the 4X.
I'm in Darkest Dungeon.
I'm talking 4X though. I like, as far as 4X goes, Endless Legend is like the most story-rich 4X I think there is out there.
Oh, have you played Galactic Civilizations?
I have not. I've heard good things.
Yeah, even though Brad Wardell has had some interesting stuff going on with him in the past decade or so, but it's also
interesting stuff that are like interesting stuff. Like I wouldn't want to give money, like put money that would go to him.
It's just I'm not going to get into it, but I will also say this: Soren Johnson, who did Civilization 4. Brian Reynolds was 5, right? And Soren Johnson was 4? He was 5? No, I know Brian Reynolds was... I think Brian Reynolds was 5, right? So that would mean Soren Johnson was 4. Soren Johnson did Old World, and that is basically Civ mixed with adventure game. So basically it's a story, and it's a 4X game, but on a lower level. So what happens is it's like Civilization meets Crusader King. Basically how I can describe it best. I think it's called Old World.
Kind of sounds like what I like about Endless Legend.
Yeah, Old World. The name is Old World. And Soren Johnson did 4. I was right. So yeah, it's a 4X game that combines storytelling with design, and you focus on the earliest eras of civilization rather than covering 6,000 years of world history. It should be dirt cheap by now. It came out in what year? It came out in 2021. So, hey, you can't lose by giving it a try, Old World. It's like I said, if you want something that's like Stellaris, except it takes place on Earth, you might want to give Old World a try. I mean, I might as well reinstall it too, just to remind myself what it's like. But yeah, I remember distinctly that a lot of it was you're doing your 4X stuff, and a lot of story elements are leaking in.
Yeah. They're going to be doing early access for this game soon too, like Endless Legend 2. I'm really interested to jump in there and see how they've changed it up from the first one.
Oh boy. What else is going on? TJ, is there anything going on out there that you want to talk about?
Let me pull up my list. Oh, notes.
Oh, come on. You should be. You should have some news about the about fighting game world.
I have a few things. For one thing, Switch finally topped 150 million unit sales, which means it's ever closer to beating the PS2 as the most sold console ever.
Yeah, every time I hear these things, it's usually PlayStation or like Nintendo. No, we're talking about a single console launch.
Mm-hmm. I think the record is still held by PlayStation.
PlayStation 2.
That'll be pretty impressive and interesting when the Switch 2 is released. If Switch 1, I guess, is discontinued.
I think they'll probably sell the light version for a little bit and maybe the OLED, but I think the regular OG Switch, I think that's going away.
By the way, you'll love this. A modder has already added an unlimited save game feature to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
That's good. Always need that.
Who thinks on a PC game that save slots are a good idea?
Yeah. So yeah, the PS2 has sold over 160 million units, so it's still the record holder. Switch is about 10 million out from that.
Here's the thing about the PS2: it was still on the shelves till the end of the PlayStation 3's existence.
Yeah, they had like the lights and the small form factor version. I mean,
so here's the thing: do we count the PS2 Slim in that?
Yeah, they do.
Like that. So if we don't count the PS2 Slim, I'm pretty sure it's a lot smaller because the Switch has been the Switch has been the Switch has been the Switch. It hasn't changed its form factor at all.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like if it still runs on the exact same operating system, like same UI, same ecosystem. Because obviously, like you can play PS2 games on the PS3, but it's like it's still different.
Yeah, I have to say that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has a body odor broadcasting system, but they always had that. That's not news. Talk about that. Oh, wait, we should talk about this. The 4090 is getting hyped beyond belief. NVIDIA's new graphic card.
Mm-hmm.
It is already selling out in one. It's like, it is. If you want one, you're gonna have to wait a long while.
Bummer. It's a shame too, because like after the, I think you mean the 5090, right? They're at the 50 series at this point. But yeah, they. I think it's. I can see why it's selling out. Do you remember how chunky the 4090 was? Like you had to find a special PC case just to fit that stupid thing because it was literally the size of a brick.
My 3090 isn't too big, at least.
The 5090, they reduced it again. It looks like about 2/3 of the size of the 4090.
Huh.
Which good for them, I guess. That was a stupid problem they made for themselves.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Oh, by the way, PlayStation 2 on PC is having its problems.
Wait, what? PS2 on PC? What?
No, Spider-Man 2 on PC is having problems.
Yeah. Yes, that was not a very well optimized port, which is surprising because I think the first one was did pretty well.
Yeah. We have Will Wright news. He's actually come out of the woodwork to talk. I mean, when was the last time we discussed Will Wright?
I don't remember.
And he says that the original Sims AI was actually too good, that anything the player did was worse than the Sims running on autopilot. I don't remember Sims 1 if that was true.
Yeah, I didn't play back that far, so I wouldn't know.
Sims 1 didn't have autopilot. What are you saying?
No, they did. If you let them alone, Sims 1.
Oh yeah,
they prioritize their needs.
Not very well. They end up usually they end up dying, starving, burning the house down, or
No,
drowning.
they were given. No, they don't. You think of Sims 2?
No, it's Sims 1. It was definitely
Sims 1,
Sims 1.
no. They would see. All the objects were like pheromones to them. Like if they were sleepy, they would go immediately to the bed. If they were hungry, they would immediately start eating food. You remember when you're playing The Sims? Remember you had to keep them from not eating. It's like, hey, wait, get away from there. Get away, stop that. Oh no, you don't want to go to bed. Wait, I want stay up. And one interesting thing is he based the AI on the Sims Ants AI, which actually makes sense because creating an AI for artificial humans is kind of an ask. So they just used the AI that they already had with the Sim Ants and did that.
I remember in Sims 1, you just trying to wake them up from bed, and they just throw a fit.
They say, no, I'm sleeping, sorry.
Yeah, they just have a whole hissy fit about it.
Yes, that's why you could leave them alone and they wouldn't starve and they wouldn't. They didn't have the clumsy. What's it called? They didn't have those. They didn't have those. Oh, speaking of Microsoft games coming to PlayStation 5, Age of Mythology and Age of Empires 2 remasters are coming to PlayStation 5. Although those were led on the PC, so I don't know if that's such a big deal. But one game I know that TJ, you're probably interested in. Wreckfest 2 starts early access in March.
Yes, and a long time coming too. A lot of people have been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah,
and it's exciting to see. I wonder if this is going to be one of those games that makes me have to think about whether or not I need a new PC, because it looks like it's going to be burly. And the first one was kind of system intensive. You could obviously crank the various settings down a bit, but like, man, I want to see all that crunching metal as you hit the car.
You want to see the little bits of metal flying off.
Yeah.
If you're trade paint, you want to see the paint flecks coming off.
And Wreckfest is all about trading paint, like not just trading paint, but like trading steering wheels, trading engine blocks, trading wheels. Like the amount of damage you can do to a vehicle in Wreckfest is absurd, and it's so good. I don't think anyone does it quite as well as they do, and I mean that. Like, I'm taking burnout and things like that into consideration. I still think Wreckfest does it better.
Yeah. So, some sad news. Platinum Games has been removing games from its listings. Star Fox Zero, Babylon's Fall, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants of Manhattan, Transformers Devastation, Legend of Korra have been scrubbed from their All Works game. But really painful to Hideki Kamiya is that they've removed all mention of Project Gigi, which was the unnamed superhero game that Kamiya was working on, which is basically, Hideki Kamiya had done stuff like Beautiful Joe and The Wonderful 101. But he left the studio in 2023, so guess what? Project GG apparently is dead.
What a bummer. That game looked like it was going to be fun. Just straight up like playing as Jet Jaguar and fighting Kaichus.
Jet Jaguar, Jaguar.
Yeah. And Hideki Kamiya is so deep into that style. He's so good at it. Like, we've seen it with Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101. He's big into those old school Sentai superhero shows. And so I was really, really excited to see what he would do with this. But it looks like it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, Mad World is also off the list, which is bad. Wait, Vanquish and Bayonetta? Oh, no, they didn't take it away. No, they just removed it. Wait, where's Mad World? Mad World's gone. That's interesting. But Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is still there. I don't know. Some people like that game. Anyways, I think we're getting close to the hour. So, Look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback, so leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave some iTunes comments. You can find me at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Shard the Sage.
And we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun. Be cool. Play games, y'all.
And that's that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.